Bills are what we thought they were to
Absolutely.
start off. A coach loses his job, a quarterback loses his job, and
Hmm.
another quarterback actually gains a job.
Yep.
All in this week's episode of Sports Labs Preview. We're going to start with the Eagles at the Seahawks on Thursday night.
Here's a snoozer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another one. It just seems like there's one or two games lately every week that just
Hmm.
seems to be really good.
It happens this far into the season. You get teams that aren't going to the playoff race, and they have to play each other just to make money and get revenue, and just because it's on the schedule. Really, I don't know why nobody's going to watch this. Philly is going at Seattle. Vince Young, from the early reports, is supposed to start again. He didn't look really that well again last week. This is just one of those games that I don't think anybody cares about. Even if you're an Eagles fan or a Seahawks fan,
Oh,
I don't
Seahawks
think
and
you
the
care.
Eagles, and this is just shocking, especially when you look at the team at the beginning of the season, going, this could be a really good team. Seahawks
Mhm.
and the Eagles actually had the same record.
Exact same record. Yeah. Yeah, at
It's
the beginning of the
ridiculous.
season, the Dream Team and the Seahawks had the exact same record. I would have never believed it if you told me.
I'm going to take the Eagles in the game.
I'm gonna take the Seahawks. Can I take the refs? Is that possible? I'm gonna take the refs. Go refs.
Moving on, Kansas City is going to be facing Chicago in Chicago.
The battle of the backups.
Yeah,
That's what this one's gonna be called.
Caleb Haney actually threw 2 touchdowns, 3 picks last week.
Mhm.
He didn't look solid.
Well, you know what? He took. I guess he wasn't looking at Jay Cutler this year. I guess he was looking at Jay Cutler's tapes from last year, and he said, "Well, look what they did last year with Jay Cutler playing like he did last year. They did amazing, and I think I'm gonna play like Cutler did last year." I think he was taking too much game tape from last year's game on Cutler there, not seeing what he did this year.
But on the other side, Tyler Palco,
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard about him since he came out of college.
I'm taking the Bears. I'm thinking the defense is going to
Yeah,
stand
I'm
up
taking the
against
Bears.
the
The Chiefs have
Chiefs.
lost 4 straight games, so yeah, there's no way the Bears lose this one.
Titans are facing the Buffalo Bills. The Bills aren't a good team right now, as we
Nope,
said in
nope.
the opening. Um, they've been hit really hard with the injury bug.
They have, and this slide, I think it's really due to the injury bug. They had a decent team. I don't know how far they could have gone in the playoffs with the team they had, but the injury bug did bite them. They had a decent team set up. They could have made a little of a playoff push, might have won one game, but when that injury bug bit them, it just shows that the progression between a good team and a great team. Great team has depth. Good team does not have depth.
Bills are now 0-4 since Ryan Fitzpatrick signed his big multi-year contract.
Little Peyton Hillis there,
Yeah.
putting cart before the horse.
Moving on to Carolina. By the way, I'm probably not going to take the Bills. I'm taking the Titans. I think Titans will actually go in and beat the Bills. Titans looked really good last week,
Yeah.
and they didn't look terrible against Atlanta 2 weeks ago. So
Mhm.
I'm taking
I'm
Titans
taking
in the
anybody
game.
versus the Bills, pretty much.
Moving on, Carolina versus Tampa Bay. For Matt and Jeremy, this is a bad game. It really
For
is.
everybody, it's a bad game. What do you mean for Matt? For
For
everybody.
for the reason I'm saying this is for Matt and Jeremy. Let's just say, argument's sake, Tampa Bay loses. They're at the bottom underneath
Wait.
Cam Newton.
Tampa Bay loses?
Tell me if you've heard
NFL
that one
doesn't care.
before.
Gotcha. I just got that in. Doesn't matter. This outcome of this game does not matter at all.
Should Raheem Morris be on the hot seat
Mm,
after a 10-6 season
Compared to
last
what
year?
the Bucks were predicted to do this year, I think he should be on a little bit of a hot seat. I don't necessarily know if the Bucks should go out and look for a new coach this year, but yeah, he should definitely be on the hot seat. I mean, Freeman hasn't lived up to what he promised he was going to be progressing over the offseason from what he looked like last year. So, of course, he needs to be on the hot seat. Whether or not he needs to go, I would say probably not.
Moving over to the other sideline, let's grade Ron Rivera's first season
Hmm.
so far. What do you think he's done?
Every single Panthers game I watch, I like what they're doing. I like the effort. I like where they're going. The results aren't there though, and that's all that matters in the NFL. I don't care how you look, what kind of effort you're giving. The Colts, they give a good effort week in and week out, and they haven't won a game yet. With a new quarterback, you got to give him, I would say, at least one more year, because Newton at times has not looked bad. He looked like a pretty decent quarterback. So I would give Rivera at least one more year there in Carolina.
Moving on to another coach in the hot seat, we're gonna move on to the Oakland versus Miami game. Miami, I really think that Steve Spagnuolo should be on the hot seat in Miami, even though they have had a small little turnaround lately. They
Hmm.
have won, what, 4 games
Hmm.
now?
Yeah,
3 games.
3 games.
Um,
Didn't win that fourth. Go
Oakland,
Cowboys.
they came really close.
Yes, they did.
And I bet you your heart was going, oh
Yes, it
no.
was. Yes, it was.
Oakland, on the other hand, has had a pretty decent turnaround. They're actually fighting with Denver
Hmm.
for the AFC West title
Hmm.
right now, since the Chargers have just gone.
Where did they usually surge at the end of the year, and they've done the complete opposite under
But
Norton.
Miami's at home, which hasn't really helped them at all this season. But I'm going to take Oakland in the game.
Uh, man, this is a toughie. I'm gonna have to take Oakland too, just because I honestly believe Oakland's gonna win that division. I think Carson Palmer, once he figures out the scheme that they're running out there, and it kind of already seems like he's going through that transitional period, I really think they're going to be a great team. Matt Moore has actually looked pretty decent for
He
Miami the
has. He
past
really
four
has.
games. Even the loss to the Cowboys, that Miami team has really looked like they've congealed here at the end of the season, and put some promising things together for next season.
Indy versus the Patriots in a
Hmm.
game that was actually flexed down. Originally, when the NFL is looking at it, you're going Peyton versus Brady.
Hmm.
Crap.
Oh
So let's
man.
move that.
Now we got Collins. No, no, not Collins. Now we got Painter. No, wait, not Painter. My bad.
Nope.
Fourth string quarterback. Or
Dan
or or
Dan
Vakalahala.
Orlovsky,
Yeah,
uh,
him.
a guy out
They
of
drafted him out of the KGB, didn't they? Is that where he came from?
he was drafted out of UConn by the Lions. Actually,
I didn't know he
ran
played
out of
basketball.
in a really
Huh.
bad. Um, the only thing that we can really find on him, and we didn't really look any game tape or anything, but
No,
the
there
only thing
isn't
we can
any.
find on him was
I
him
saw some
running out of
game
the
tape when
back
he
of
was
the end,
standing on the sideline.
running on the back of the end zone for a safety in a
Yeah,
game.
that's almost as bad as the quarterback for Georgia Tech a few years ago throwing it out of bounds on fourth down to end the game. I mean, that's how do you run out of the back of your own? Really? How did you make it to the NFL? You run out of the back of your own end zone?
In other words, the
Oh,
Colts are going to stay
yeah.
winless, or and
Oh
Brady
yeah.
is going
Yeah,
to
they
take care of
I think
business.
the Pats are a 20.5 favorite. The fourth biggest uh
Point spread.
point spread, sorry. Point spread in the history of the NFL. If I'm a betting man, I'm not putting a cent on the Colts. There's no way. I would almost go to say that the Pats shut them out and win by at least 40.
Moving on to the Jets versus the Redskins in a game that really shouldn't matter, but it does for
Hmm.
division fight. The Jets actually had a pretty decent game last week against the Buffalo Bills for another division game. Or no, excuse me. Yes, it was
Hmm.
division game. Sorry,
Yes, yes.
Skins are on the other end. Sorry,
Yes.
losing my mind 13 weeks into the year.
You're going crazy.
But
Um,
the Skins actually had a decent game against Seattle,
yeah.
of course, and I think really anybody should have a decent game against Seattle.
Mhm.
But the Jets, I just think their defense is going to be too strong for
Yeah,
Washington.
Jets are gonna win, but this is a matchup between two teams that are on downers. Jets are 1-4 away from home, just not getting it done on the road, and the Skins they're 1-6 in their last seven. Their quarterback situation is just as bad as the Colts. I'm gonna have to go with the Jets of the two of the worst teams in this matchup here.
Moving on to a really interesting game this week, Cincinnati is facing off against Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
It's a big game just simply for fighting rights in the NFC or in the AFC North.
Mhm.
Um, you really could get into second place behind the now top seeded
Ravens,
Ravens.
and more than likely probably going to win out Ravens.
Yeah,
Looking at their
Ravens
schedule,
Ravens schedule is ridiculous
very
down the
easy.
stretch.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be a really big game for Andy Dalton and company to
Yeah.
come in into Pittsburgh, which is hard to do. Um, Pittsburgh is probably going to be without Troy Polamalu,
Yeah.
but I still think their defense is going to take care of business at
Yeah.
home.
Steelers are 4-1 right now at home. They're 5-0, or Bengals are 5-0 against the spread away. So I mean, both the statistics are playing for both the teams. Steelers at home though, they're such a hard team to beat. Going into Heinz Field and trying to play against them, it's almost impossible. The Steelers are gonna have to bounce back and make a statement game after that just poor effort they had against the Chiefs last year.
Terrible
I mean,
game.
just it didn't even look like they were trying. It looks like they were asleep. That was a coaching foul. I'm gonna have to go with the Steelers at home on this one.
Okay. Denver's facing off against Minnesota. The Minnesota's actually had a decent showing at times against Atlanta last week. Denver, on the other hand, had a really interesting comeback in an overtime win
Hmm.
last week.
Well, Jesus
Again,
can do that. Hmm.
not going to say his name this week. I won't. Um,
I will.
on the other end, on the other side of the ball, Denver's defense has been outstanding
Yes,
lately.
they have.
They
They have.
really have stood up against pretty much everybody and just said, "Come at us, please."
Hmm.
It's and I think Denver's got another win under their belt.
I do too. Vikings are horrible, and Tim Tebow, he just keeps winning. You know, he just keeps on going. I think he's gonna have 300 yards this week, probably 2 completions, maybe 6 touchdowns. I mean, just his stats are they don't make sense. You look at the stats and you see his record, they don't make sense. But what matters in the NFL is wins, and he keeps on winning, so he'll be the starting quarterback in Denver as long as he keeps that up.
5-1 now as a starter in
That's
the
disturbing.
this season.
How did that
Let's
happen?
put it that way. Baltimore's facing off against Cleveland. I'm gonna have to give it to Baltimore,
Oh
even though it's
yeah.
an away game.
Yeah.
Baltimore's got to take this
I
game.
think Baltimore is going to win out. They're going to win that division, and I really think they're going to be the first seed in the AFC. I think with that win over the 49ers last week, 49ers are a good team. I don't care what anybody says. 49ers are a legit good team. They have a terrific defense. I think with that win last week, Ravens established themselves as the best team in the AFC. Their schedule is so easy the rest of the way. I see them winning out and getting the first seed in the AFC.
Moving on to those 49ers right now. The 49ers actually had a rough game last on Thursday
Hmm.
against his brother.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we're in week 13. They still have yet to allow a rushing touchdown. They
Yeah.
still have yet to allow a 100-yard rusher.
And the
What is
key
the
the
deal?
key well, good defense is the deal, and more of an emphasis on passing in the NFL is another. It's more. It seems like it's switched over slowly, but this season you're starting to really see it. The quarterback is the main part of the offense now, and
Mhm.
rushing. You know what? You rush for 5 yards a game. It doesn't matter if you have Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Let them throw for 500 plus yards. It's that, and the key to last week's loss for the 49ers is they couldn't protect Alex Smith. That's a big problem they're going to have this week is protecting Alex Smith. They're playing the Rams, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But if they want to make it far in the NFC playoffs, they really need to fix this problem with their, opening
Protection.
door. Yeah, absolutely. Alex Smith is a good game managing quarterback, but if you can't protect him, y'all can't win.
Taking the 49ers at home in the game.
Yeah, they're 5-1 at home, taking the Niners.
Moving on to Dallas versus Arizona. Dallas needs this win bad just
Oh,
to
we'll get it.
mainly keep touch or keep pace for the NFC East,
Hmm.
and to actually keep pace in the NFC playoff picture
Hmm.
too. I think they almost have the East pretty much lined up, considering the Giants continue to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
After singing Eli Manning's praises for the first half of the season, it just keeps going downhill. I'm gonna have to take the Cowboys on this one. I'm a huge fan of the Cowboys, so I'm gonna try to take that out. But I really feel right now that they have the momentum in the East, and they will win that division. It's between the Giants and the Cowboys right now, and the Cowboys are playing a better brand of football.
moving on to the New York Giants. The New York Giants are actually facing possibly their third loss in a row.
Hmm.
They're going up against Green Bay. What's the one note that you actually have on this?
I got a really interesting stat that I looked up. It's Aaron Rodgers. That's all you need to know. Aaron Rodgers is playing this game. If he plays in any game, you pick him. If he's playing cricket, you pick Aaron Rodgers because he doesn't lose. You think Tebow's automatic? Aaron Rodgers has this down pat.
This is true. I'm taking the Packers in
Oh
this
yeah,
game.
I'm gonna take Packers to win the Super Bowl.
What did you? Didn't we actually read something that OCU Manura might be out?
Yes, OCU Manora will be out for the Giants. Just one more hit for a team that's going downhill and is probably gonna get obliterated by the Packers this week.
If you can't rush Aaron Rodgers, you're probably not going to do very
Oh,
well.
even if he can rush it, Aaron Rodgers.
Atlanta facing off against Texans. Originally, about 5 weeks ago, Atlanta actually had this date circled,
Mhm.
going, "This has got to be the biggest must-win of the
Yeah,
season."
absolutely. Yeah.
Now looking at it,
This was a statement game for the Falcons looking back a few weeks ago.
now looking at it, yeah,
If if
they're
you
on to the
if
third
you
string
don't win,
quarterback.
if the Falcons don't win, you do not deserve to be in the playoffs. If the Falcons don't win by at least 2 touchdowns with the Texans' third string quarterback, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Speaking of, they actually signed Jake Delhomme.
Oof,
Houston signed
golly.
Jake Delhomme today, which is a
What
really interesting pick.
was Jamarcus Russell not available?
Jamarcus is still out there, and so
Ah,
is what's
Culpepper's out there
Yeah,
as well.
Culpepper.
Yeah, Dante. Culpepper can throw it around, baby. He can throw it around. You need to sign him up.
I'm taking Atlanta at Houston, which is
Yeah,
a big.
yeah. I think Atlanta on the road on that one.
Moving on to Detroit versus New Orleans.
Woo! That's gonna be ugly.
Sue's been suspended 2 games by the NFL after that ridiculous action on Thanksgiving Day.
No self-control. Just complete loss of self-control.
It was probably 30 seconds after that I actually received a text from Bryce asking me if I actually saw
Yeah, I mean,
it.
I saw it, and then I saw the replay, and I kind of looked, and I said, did that really just happen? Did he slam that player's head to the ground 3 times and then stomp on his arm? It didn't happen, actually, according to Sue. It was he lost his balance, accidentally slammed his head into the ground 3 times, stomped on his hand, all accidental.
After New Orleans took care of business against New York last night on Monday Night Football, you have to think New Orleans is going to take care
Oh
of business
yeah,
and
yeah. They're
against
gonna throw it
Detroit.
around. Stafford's gonna put up his stats. Megatron will be there, but Saints walk out with a win on this one.
Yeah, plus it's at home. So
Yeah, yeah.
the Monday night game, San Diego is facing off against Jacksonville, and yeah, but Jacksonville has a new head coach.
They do, and they're moving to LA. Oh wait, not yet, not yet.
Jack Del Rio has been fired today, and they've named their defensive coordinator their head
Yep.
coach.
Promoted him.
And they also sold the team?
Yes, they have a new owner who says they're gonna stay in Jacksonville. We all know he's a liar. Yeah, they'll be in LA.
Does this help the Jacksonville Jaguars win on Monday night?
Oh, absolutely not. No. Nope.
So you're calling San Diego?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm going San Diego.
Right.
There's nothing that's gonna help the Jags.
Can you really call San Diego winning this game after the poor showing they've had the
Actually,
past 5,
I feel
6,
about the same way.
wait, 12 weeks?
I feel the same way about this game as I do the Eagles game. It's just nobody wins. Nobody cares. Move to LA where you can get some money, Jacksonville. Just move. They have a stadium there for you. They have millions of dollars. There's not really a fan base out there, but you can get money. That's what drives the NFL is money, and they can get it out in LA.
So that's our picks for the week. We will be back next week, but obviously Bryce and I are decked out in Ohio State stuff.
Yes!
We lost to Michigan. That sucks.
48 hours later, though.
Yeah,
It was
Urban
all
Meyer
fine.
is now the new head football coach at Ohio State, so
That's right.
we're showing our Ohio State pride. We'll
Go
be back
Bucks.
next week. I hope you guys
Go
can
Bucks.
catch it. If you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch the recap show for last week.
Yeah.
But for Bryce, I'm Billy. This has been Sports Club. We'll talk to you guys next week.